Apparently, there's always a doom and gloom in the market, and I'm here to help you. Maybe give you a light in this dark, gloomy world we currently face. You know, I always look at fear that drives the market, and it's usually the residential market that gets the squeeze. However, in every dark, gloomy, cloudy, rainy thunderstorm, there's always a silver lining. You just have to look for it. My name is Sutrun. Today, I'm here to show you what it looks like. You know, every major economic recovery in North America has been carried on the backs of small, medium enterprises. Now, sure, the residential market is currently suffering, sitting on the sidelines currently. All the brokers, including some of my colleagues, are waiting for rates to drop. But history has shown us that a downturn isn't a wall, right? You don't have to wait. You just need to pivot. It's a pivot point, basically. So today I'm going to show you how to stop chasing all the housing markets, all the bad news, all the first home buyers that can't afford and really making everybody feel sad. Of course, you're not making money. That's why you're sad. I want to show you perhaps this is the time for you to make a pivot. History has a way of repeating itself. And every the time there's a downturn has a great opportunity. Sure, the residential market's cooling. Sure, people getting laid off because of businesses shutting down, relocating. But here's the fact: 98% of all small medium enterprises, they employ the majority of Canadian workers currently and US worker, right? The American. Yeah, I get it. When the big corporates start laying off, there's not much you can do. But understand that the small business enterprises, all the small business employees, shop owner, medical professionals, for example, medical business, they're keeping the economy running, right? So think of that for a minute. And as a broker, you aren't just selling any loan anymore. You're providing the fuel for our economy, the engine that actually works right now, right? So you really think about it. This is where your position should be, looking at the market, not just because of the downturn. Sure, there's 30, 40% drop in the residential side, but the commercial side is always juggling itself. It's always stabilized over the years. Even rough economic downturn. It is starting to heat up too, because now investors are out in full looking for those deals that weren't there before when everybody's bidding in the residential market. Of course, the uncertainty is there because a lot of the major corporates are laying off, and many people are looking at the bottom line and say, well, what are we gonna do? Right? Sure, in a good environment, everybody wins, right? But let me show you. We actually have some safe zones currently, right? Now, understand that SMEs are the number driving new jobs, even during economic downturns, right? We're not just looking for stability. We want to look for growth opportunity. What does it look like? All right. The opportunity is here because government-backed loans in Canada and United States, SBA, SABA loan, we call it. Well, these are safety net lenders. Even during tough times, they will finance because they know they're the only employers out there who are actually adding more people to the workforce instead of removing them. Keep that in mind. What does the safety list look like? These are the top 10. Now, look at the industry that we have, right? Think of these as the best way to make money right now. There is so much money still pouring into all these. Why? Because the success rate is quite high. 5 years term. Look at this. The healthcare industry, nobody goes out of business. I don't know about any dentist practice, medical practice, orthopedic, chiropractor. They're still in business. Veterinary clinic, right? Same with funeral services. Yep, it's a recession-proof. Waste management. You got to get rid of that stuff sooner or later, right? Agriculture, vending, laundromat. These are the core business that you need to sustain no matter how bad the economy looks like. Property manager, always going to be in demand, right? Somebody's going to take care of the tenants. Somebody's going to take care of uh, the repairs, maintenance, right? Senior care, assisted living, they're always going to be there. You can't just get rid of old people because the economy is bad, right? So taxation as well, yeah, everything to do with the government, you got to pay taxes, professional services, right? Childcare, always. Mom, dad's got to work, the business owner's got to work, logistics, last mile delivery. All these are the backbone of the economy. You need this to keep the economy going, no matter how bad things look. So think about these recession resistant places that I call it, right? Recession resistant, then I tongue twisted. These are all business guys. There is no housing. There's no residential, loans here. These are very resistant because at the end of the day, we're not talking about T4s or W2s, right? We're not talking about employees. We're talking about business owners who have, employees, payrolls. They have a ton of income expenses. Like you need an accountant to help you with this, right? To understand how all this works. But understand this is what's driving the economy right now. So consider pivoting away from the T4s, W2s, basically employees. Stop chasing those personal debt service ratio. Look at corporations, look at EBITDA, look at debt service ratio. DCO in Canada, DSCO in the United States. If they can hit 1.25 to debt service, I teach that in the workshop. For those folks who are interested, I could deep dive into that too. And to help you understand how all this works and put together, the blueprint for the pivot is once you understand this, you can literally go through bad times of the economy when the residential market is just plummeting. This will help you pick up where you're slacking in the business. In Canada, we have CSB, CSBL-FL program, which is like government backed. 85% of it is insured. So every lender is just lending it out like it's like never, there's never ending. Pot of gold. It literally is, right? The government insured it so that the worst case happen, the lender is only on the hook for 15% of the total loan amount. US, the same, 90%. Right? All the bankers worry about is only 10%. That's nothing, peanuts. But the higher interest rate, higher chance of success, because the government's gonna make sure that these people can survive through rough time. And a lot of these loans are backed by the government, so that the lenders were probably never gonna call the loan. As long as you can make payments, they're okay with you. What does it look like, right? So the reality is this, guys. It's you stop becoming a pencil paper pusher, application taker. You become a high level capital advisor who can solve tough problems that standard bank manager wouldn't even touch because they have to figure out how to do all these projections, work with accountants. They don't have time for all that stuff. They don't have time to advise clients how to do basically the business plans itself, the SWOT analysis, which is like strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. Like basically look at the overall business plans that they have in place. How does it fit? Right? So you become a trusted advisor. Now, the only problem is that I found out over the years is that we are actually the problem. We prevent ourselves from succeeding because we overthink all the time. People have the tendency, like the smarter you are, is is actually the downfall. Some of my graduates who are not the brightest in the room are very successful right now because they're coachable, they listen, and through the 6 week training that I teach, they become very successful as long as they follow the process, the procedure, all that we taught during the 6 weeks. Now, this is just for you to understand that you don't have to be smart. The smart brokers actually are a problem because we are waiting for the perfect time, have a perfect clarity before we make a move. Stop thinking too much. You're overthinking. Make a transition. Consider adding this high ticket skill to your offering, to your existing clients. Right? It's not that difficult. It's not rocket science, guys. I have taught over 300 graduates, and most of them are doing extremely well, doing a tough time right now. See, in 2026, it's not a 25, 30, 35 year or a 50-year residential mortgage, right? We're talking about the 5, 10-year small business loans, small business administration loan in the US. This is where the moneymaker is. And the reason being is that, you know, smart people are too smart for themselves, right? I just see this every day. All the mortgage brokers every day, in and out, overthink ourselves. We shoot ourselves in the foot, right? And the problem is, by doing that, we put ourselves into poverty. We wait for perfect time. Well, every day, every month, the volume drops. It's not going up. You can't resuscitate the dead. So here I am to help you. Successful brokers just have clarity. They follow a model that works. My model, I've been teaching with 300 graduates, so I know it works. Stop being the smart broker, stop overanalyzing, and start being the one who executes. Okay? Now, I've been doing this for 28 years, so I can tell you the blueprint works, but only for those who take the shot. I get asked every day about joining our training program. The current one is full. And I say it's full, meaning that we're strictly full. The cohort's full. I don't have room to train anybody else right now for at least for another 4 or 5 weeks. And we'll see if I have time after that to do another cohort. So if you're seriously interested in making a change, a transition, stop guessing and start following where the money flows. Small and medium enterprise, there's a blueprint for success. Just have to follow it. Right? For those who are interested, go to commercialfinancingmastery.com and add your name to the wait list. When and if we do have another one, you'll be the first one we'll call. If you're ready, join the wait list for the next intake and let's get to work. The economy is waiting for us.